Hey, everybody. Welcome.
We have got a really cool manufacturer's show today. We came across some kind of cool statistics. A few interesting things happened, and we figured we would reach out to you guys and find out more, because I definitely think this is something that everybody would want to know and hear about.
I'd like to welcome Eric Aubrey from Aligent.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Very good. How are you?
Don't walk me.
So give us the Reader's Digest version of who you are and what you're here for.
So my name is Eric Aubrey. I'm with the field detection team at Aligent. And the field detection team focuses on the Raman spectroscopy. So that's handheld Raman. That's also our desktop liquid explosive detector, and a number of other devices. But primarily today, we're focusing on our handheld Raman called the Resolve.
I love it. You know, we would talk about this before the show, and we came across a report of these 10 different Raman systems, right? And the Department of Homeland Security did this.
Correct.
And the Resolve, the one we're going to talk about, was awarded the highest overall score. I got to say, if I was in your shoes, I would be pretty happy with that one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is a very thorough study. It focused on the main points that hazmat teams would focus on, and we did very well.
All right.
That's amazing.
So, I mean, I didn't see what they did with the study, but it's impressive that you guys ranked as high as you did. So there's a bunch of Raman technologies that are out there in the field. I know, Bobby and I, where we worked, like somebody would knock on the door and be like, "Hey, would you guys mind like using this for a year?" And so we get to a scene and we've got no joke 6 Raman technologies to choose from, and we're like, which one do we grab for this run? So
Sure.
what? There's clearly enough Raman technology out there that there had to be a comparison. What makes you guys stand out from the pack? Like, if somebody's thinking Raman, why should they be thinking the Resolve?
Sure. I mean, the Raman technology came out back when the white powder scares were big. And so all the other traditional handheld Raman devices, they can scan through the clear plastic or the clear glass. We're the only ones on the market that can scan through the more opaque, dark colored, thick containers to identify the materials behind it, the unknown behind it.
And I can actually verify that. We had a hydrogen peroxide run with a blue container over by the Brooklyn Naval Yard. Bob, were you on?
I think I was on that one.
I think we were both on that one. And it was reacting. The peroxide was reacting with the ground, and they were able to, of one of the many, Raman meters that we got to play with, the Resolve was one of them. It wasn't with you guys yet, but it was still the Resolve, and it worked beautifully through the very thick blue polyethylene plastic.
Are you guys hearing more about that? Like, are you guys hearing that's day-to-day stuff? Are you guys hearing a lot about people utilizing this on a daily basis? Absolutely.
I mean, so this was designed to keep the operator safe, right? So if you can leave a genie in a bottle, leave it in a bottle. You don't want to have to expose your operator to, whatever the unknown is, whether it's, a fentanyl or whether it's an explosive, and then talking about explosives, most of the other traditional handheld Raman use such a narrowed focused laser beam that they warn you against energetics, where ours uses a much larger laser spot size. So we can significantly safer than the other traditional handheld Ramans, scan energetics and identify them through the thick containers.
That's a huge thing, guys. What he just said there is that the others use a very it's almost like we are burning ants. You get that perfect focus, and theirs is intentionally slightly blurry so that it doesn't burn the ant, but still goes through that. That's a huge thing, because that's something we do a lot.
How do you compare that opaqueness, right? Like, I sit and I think, okay, I've used other Raman technologies on opaque material containers before, but yes, they were relatively thin and you could kind of translucently see through them. So when we say opaque, like, what is the upper limit of the machine as far as opaqueness, and how does that compare to then, you're the next guy in line?
So the next guy in line is, like I said, they can identify through the clear glass and the clear plastic. They struggle when it comes to something more translucent, like your typical bottle of isopropyl alcohol. So some of them can scan through that, but there's been a number of them that we've been told cannot scan through that. In terms of our upper end of what's opaque that we can scan through, so we can scan through your typical red plastic gas can, which is what we sometimes take to our shows to show it, but also this black container here, plastic. Wow. We can scan through this without burning a hole and without getting any kind of errors. So
that's
we can identify what's.
That's not opaque at all. Like, just to describe what he's holding for those that are not going to enter the visual realm, it almost looks like one of those hair wax paste jars, and it's completely black, and you can't see into it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Wow. And that's usually when I'm thinking about shooting into a drum. I got to say, it's like a little bit softer, where you can it's almost malleable, right? But he just knocked on that, and you heard it's almost like a drum. So you can go up to hard plastics, not metals.
Correct, not metals.
Okay. So that's still a barrier.
Yeah, so when you use Raman technology, you're using a laser beam nonetheless. So the metal is always going to reflect off of that. So Raman is never going to be great with metals in and of itself when you're using a laser beam.
Okay, so do I need to know like the thickness of the container? Do I have to be there's some out there that I have to change the focal point on the lenses and all that other stuff? Sure.
With the Resolve, you don't have to change anything. It's all automatic. You don't have to tell it what type of container it is. You don't have to say, okay, it's 5/16 of an inch or it's 1/4 inch. But 5/16 of an inch is about the threshold.
I always say that. I'm like, if I'm looking at this drum from the outside, how the hell do I know how thick this thing is?
Correct.
Oh my God!
You have to run it, so much move easier. It, run it, move it, run it, move it, run it, move it, and you don't even know if the material is compatible with Raman inside. So you're literally going through all these steps, and you don't even know if you're actually going to get a hit.
Also true.
Which means that if I don't have to do measurements or even estimations, I have less steps in the hot zone, which means I have to take less samples, and I can focus on my job.
Correct. So with the Resolve, you're in and out of your level A suits if you happen to be gloved up and suited up, in significantly less time than with your traditional handheld Raman, or if you have to decant a sample and expose yourself to the unknown.
That's one of the things that's a little different, is that a lot of these meters, especially the spectroscopy type, whether it's mass spec or GCMS, they're designed for the lab. Correct. And you guys have seemed to have bridged it to the field.
Absolutely.
What are the design features within the system itself that allow it to be field operable?
A couple of them. Number one, the large button sizes. So, this is a handheld device that can be, used with just one hand. The large button sizes allow you to easily operate it with gloves on. It can be operated using Wi-Fi so that you can set it and go safely uprange and then control and monitor everything as if you were with the device from your tablet or your iPhone. So a number of safety features.
And what about the software? Like, is it still like glove friendly and visually appealing?
It is. It's very glove friendly. Bright LED, screen. In terms of the speed of scanning, we can identify currently through barrier in about under 90 seconds. And I believe that our software should be, or the algorithm should be improving shortly to significantly reduce that time.
Jeez.
Is it true that this thing can operate underwater? Like, I've heard a couple little rumors. I've always wanted to jump in a level A suit and scuba dive and mix scuba diving with hazmat, and this might be the perfect meter for me to do that with.
So because it is IP67 rated with all the ports closed, it can be submerged in about 1 meter of water. And I have seen a video of it actually taking a scan and identifying while submerged in water. See, water doesn't affect the Raman result like it would in FTIR.
Okay.
So that's one of the benefits.
So obviously we're not using it underwater, but it's really nice to know exactly how deconnable this is. The last thing you want to do is put something through a decon and then end up frying your machine because it couldn't go under 1 meter of water.
Correct. Yeah. It's very easily deconnable or decontaminated. You can either wipe it down with an alcohol swab, or you can submerge it into a mild bleach solution.
That's
so. What are you guys hearing feedback wise on this in both the studies that have been done and actual user feedback?
We're receiving excellent feedback. A lot of operators say it's like witchcraft. The fact that they can take the device and quickly assess whether or not they need further personnel or further protective equipment. We're receiving great feedback. The fact that you have a third-party study from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security that evaluated in a very fair evaluation the different technologies that are available, and to see that we actually came on top. The customers have been calling us and trying to get demonstrations and asking a lot of great questions.
Now, one of the things that we saw when we were on the streets was you had meters that would tout a larger library. Me as the guy on the street, I wanted the largest library in the world. I wanted billions of things in it. And at the same time, you want a meter that has all the capability and tons of bandwidth. But at the same time, you get lost in that signal to noise. And you think, I want a narrow focus on that thing. But you guys are kind of embracing the width of that. Go into that. Why is the signal to noise ratio so important in Raman?
Signal to noise ratio is important because you want to make sure that you're getting accurate results. So you mentioned the library size. So with a library size of over 13,000 entries in it, you want to make sure that the signal and therefore the spectrum that you're getting on a particular scan matches well enough to the library that you're able to identify the unknown. Now, our device uses what's called spatially offset Raman spectroscopy, which SOARS for short, which is what allows us to, number one, go through the thick colored and otherwise opaque containers, but it's also what allows us to have such a robust instrument that is able to have such a great signal to noise ratio while providing excellent results.
So what does that offset spectroscopy do? How is it able to, I guess, really, how does it work? Give us your secrets. No.
Sure.
What is offset? Like, what does that mean? Like, so if I'm the entry guy or I'm somebody who's looking at this, like understanding the technology and its pros and yes, even sometimes its cons can help me decide whether or not this technology fits into my repertoire. So what is offset spectroscopy? How does it help with that noise ratio, and why is it something that I should be seriously considering if I'm looking for a Raman?
So SOARS, or spatially offset Raman spectroscopy, works as this. So you shoot a laser and it identifies the container. It then offsets, shoots a deeper laser, identifies the container plus the contents. The algorithm does the math, subtracting the initial scan, which was the container, and you're left with the contents being displayed on the device.
Okay. So the spatially offset allows you that's the technology that helps you see through the container. Does it do anything for helping identify just a component sitting on a table?
When you say a component sitting on the table,
like if I have a sample sitting on a table, not in a container, does the offset do anything to help with that?
Not the offset, no. Okay. So there's three modes that the Resolve can scan in. Number one is through barrier, which is where the offset takes place. Okay. Number two would be vial mode. And then number three would be direct mode, like you just mentioned. So basically what those do, those three different modes, they change the focal point automatically of the device. So you don't have to manually change anything, but there's a vial attachment for vial mode. Obviously for direct mode, you'd be putting it directly to the sample. And then the through barrier is when you would use your spatially offset technique.
Gotcha. And with that, I mean, obviously, like a photographer, the lenses count.
Absolutely. I mean, so our device compared to, traditional handheld Raman is like using a professional photographer compared to, your camera phone.
Interesting. Lenses. That's what it comes down to.
Is it really? So the lenses make a difference in the quality of the laser, which gives you a higher quality of input coming in. So input, good output yields good input.
Correct.
You got the offset spectroscopy, which allows you to go through the containers. Any other
Sure. We also have a silicon detector. So that detector is it's a very robust detector. Silicon detector is what helps improve the signal to noise ratio.
So that's like a cream of the crop. So we're talking every step of the way, you guys have high-end items in each one of these.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, all right. So with a device such as this, obviously, you crack open the box, you got the chargers, you got all those things that you unbox in this. The kids love unboxing things today. But, it's more than just, the box, the charging cable, the device, the case and all that stuff. It's much more than that. What else do you guys kind of do?
So we also provide reach back. So with every device sold, there's number one, 12 months of warranty included, but there's also reach back. So if you have an unknown that you want to verify the scan, or you're unsure about it, or you want a confirmation of a particular result, you can use our reach back service. So that reach back can be done from the device. It can be done from your tablet or phone if you're using the Wi-Fi function of the device. And our reach back experts are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, because they're in the separate different continents, so that they're always available. And these are PhD scientists.
All right. Legit question that I've always kind of wondered, right? So I've gotten a meter, and it either gives me a hit or it doesn't give me a hit, right? So when should I do reach back? Like, as the manufacturer, what do you guys suggest? Like, hey, in this situation, do reach back. Because clearly you don't want everybody always reaching out. You need 1,000 PhDs sitting around and they get too quirky.
Sure. I mean, I think reach back should be triaged, if you will. So, for example, if you have a situation at an airport and you're not sure whether or not you're getting the proper result, let's say something comes up as ricin, and before you go and shut down the whole terminal, which is going to cost thousands, if not millions of dollars, you want to get just a second confirmation. Hey, let me send this to reach back, see what they come up with. Okay, yes, it is ricin. Go ahead, shut it down. Now you know that it's going to be worth the cost of your next move.
So it's more confirmation before an operational decision is made to really ensure that this is the material that we're dealing with.
I think that is the most dire situation. They have other situations for reach back where, let's say, I remember in Highlands County, Florida, there was some kind of dark tar kind of substance oozing up from the ground. Well, they wanted to send that to reach back because they couldn't get a hit. It was totally black. It was thick. You send that to reach back. We can further analyze it. We can block out some of the fluorescence issues. We can use chemometric software to manipulate different background issues so that we can give you a better result or representative answer.
So would you like people doing reach back every time they get no answer, or only in, like, where is that threshold from your all's point of view?
I think it would be up to the operator or herself. We definitely encourage reach back. We have the bandwidth to accept the different reach back calls. Obviously, if it's, something that you're training with and you just are unsure what the item is while you're training, you're not necessarily going to use the reach back. But if you're on an actual call and you really have a legit question, there's nothing stopping you, and we encourage you to send the reach back in.
Okay, I have to ask now, because when I first started, I can so clearly remember we had a reach back binder. Do you remember the binder, Bob?
Oh,
it was a reach back binder, and every instrument that had reach back, there was a picture step by step on how to do the reach back, because it was so complicated. How does reach back work nowadays?
It's really simple. From the device, you can Wi-Fi send the reachback file via email from the device, or you can use a USB thumb drive to attach it to the device and then email it from your laptop. Either way works.
These kids these days, they have it so easy.
Unbelievable. You missed an opportunity. You should have said, "Oh, you got to go to the second meter, and then so that way you sell twice as many."
Right.
Oh.
Now, the good thing is that the Department of Homeland Security study also studied the reach back provisions of the different companies. So our reach back was found to be above par.
I can say I did use the reach back for you guys, and I was impressed with the quickness and the ease of extracting the information. I thought that the report that was given to me was clear, and it had some decision making, even outcome considerations in it, which I liked. Gave me a little guidance.
Yes, indeed. So the report will show not only the scan, it'll show what conditions the scan was taken in. It will also show what mode the scan was taken in. There was one time when I was in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and I was given a demonstration to one of the other jurisdictions, Chesapeake, and Virginia Beach said, we want a demonstration as well. So I came out there and I gave them a 30-minute hands-on and a 30-minute PowerPoint presentation, during which I told them that their current handheld Raman could not scan energetics as they agreed because the manufacturer warned them against it based on that narrowed laser beam we talked about before. And by the time I finished, I went back to the hotel and they texted me and said, look, we got a live situation. So I went out there and it was the greatest demonstration ever. So they used my device downrange. They got it all on video. The guy had 10 pounds of ammonium nitrate plus some moon powder plus some fireworks. He was going to rig up his blasting caps. So local police department asked me for my report. I did print the reports. It did lead to an arrest. So that was like the best demonstration ever. So the report is very thorough and can get the job done for presumptive results.
So did they purchase one, or are you just now on standby?
Chesapeake purchased one. Chesapeake, Virginia purchased one, and Virginia Beach is waiting for their funding to come through.
Okay.
Wow. All right. The question that's probably on everybody's mind is, okay, there's got to be a linchpin in this thing, and it's usually the libraries. Like, is it? Now, it comes preloaded with, as you said, 13,000 things, and I remember when. In some iteration, the Ramans were like capped at like 5,000.
Oh yeah.
Now
when they first came out, they were 1,200 with the promise of like multiple ones in the future, and yeah.
What's the deal with the libraries, and like what can they expect if your piece? Sure.
So there are 3 library configurations. The first one is the standard configuration, which is really for academia or if you're only doing narcotics. The second one is your toxic and hazardous library. So the first one has about 1,000 entries. Your second one has everything from the first plus an additional 6,000 or 7,000 toxic industrial chemicals and toxic industrial materials. And then you have your third tier, which is your comprehensive library, which has everything from the first 2 plus an additional 7,000 entries that, a typical hazmat team will never call on and will never see, except unless they're calling on a company that manufactures chemicals. We also offer a CWA library that can be added to either one of the 3 libraries if the hazmat team or agency has a remit that it might include chemical warfare agents. Now, the libraries are updated at least twice a year, and there may be more frequent updates as time progresses. So as long as you're on a warranty plan, you receive these updates as well.
Automatic update, like when the machine turns on, it connects to Wi-Fi, or is it one of these things like I have to download a program, I got to download the file? Okay.
Good, because I actually prefer that, and it doesn't do those automatic updates, because nothing's worse than you're on scene doing stuff, and then it's like, well, please wait while I update. You're like, no,
I'm going to shut down and do an update right now.
Right.
Really? I like that.
Another good thing about this device is that it does not require to be calibrated annually. So, some devices either require you to have a calibration person on your team or require you to send it in annually for calibration. This prompts you for a system check every time you turn it on or after every 30 minutes of use. And that can be changed in terms of like how frequent it happens. And that's your calibration right there. It'll tell you, yes, it's calibrated because it uses this cap here that has several layers, and as long as the spectra line up properly for those layers, then it is calibrated properly.
And I see you guys do actually have quite a bit of experience with first responders, because that cap is tethered to the machine.
That's correct.
that is correct.
Where did I put that thing? Where did I put that?
Are there any additional positive functionalities with using the Bluetooth and remotely? Or is the distance, the ability to operate the machine remotely, the only advantage to the Bluetooth?
So right now, the ability to control it via Wi-Fi is as robust as your Wi-Fi network. So if you are in a building that is an acre long and has Wi-Fi signal repeated throughout the entire acre, then you can be on one side and device on the other side and still control it fully functioning.
Okay. So not Bluetooth Wi-Fi. I was wrong on that.
Bluetooth is coming.
Oh, Bluetooth is coming. It's on its way. Okay. I won't tell anyone.
You know what? The good thing about this is that, like, you know, me and Eric were talking before the show, and we were laughing about things. Eric is one of the most easygoing people to speak to, and I really want to push you guys to at least start a conversation with Eric. He's a great guy to talk to, as you can tell from this conversation that we just had. Eric, give us the skinny on where we can come to speak not only to you, but to get our hands on this meter.
Sure. So we are at most of the trade show conferences, but please give me a call back at 202-701-6780.
Will you be in California in a couple of weeks?
My teammate will be.
Do they have as nice voice as you do?
They do. Probably better.
All right. I'll say hi.
Well, guys, take Eric on his offer. Get in touch with Eric and Aligent to check out. You get your hands on this meter, because I'm telling you, it's the way of the future. Think about not having to open up your container to get what's on the inside. It's a dream for a technician. So thanks, Eric, for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
All right.